Welcome to today's lab. We are going to introduce you to isometric drawings and orthographic projections, as well as the type of paper used for orthographic projections, also called isometric paper or ortho paper. To start this out, I need to introduce you with a couple of pictures. First of all, I want to show you this here. In fact, I have a better picture right here of a type of orthographic paper, or also called isometric paper. This paper is, you notice it's a series of triangles. Each triangle is stacked on each other, and this paper is specifically used for the drawing of three-dimensional objects. And so I have my crayon out here. I'm going to draw a quick box over the lines, following the lines there. See how that follows. As I follow these lines, I can create not a very good one, but just a basic box of what we're looking at. So this here is a three-dimensional projection, also called a isometric drawing, and I'm going to show you a drawing here up close. This one here is from, let's see, I'm just pulling some off the web here. You see the link here, technologystudent.com, thanks to them. This is also an example of an isometric drawing and design. Notice that the angles are about 30 degrees from the top to the bottom, or horizontally to rising up. So that gives you an idea of the projection that we're looking at. It shows three different sides of the object, at least three, and then one part of it is pointing out at you. If you were to reach out and touch this, you'd be able to touch this part first. So again, I wanted to outline to you the type of paper used for drawing things like this. Also, the projections themselves, as shown in the website there. And lastly, I want to show you something called an orthographic projection. This is from engineeringessentials.com, their website. On the left here, you have an isometric drawing. Shows the top here, and they've labeled them, the front here and then the right side. And this type of labeling is fairly common for basic graphics communication demonstrations. Usually this side here that's kind of on the left, off to the left on an isometric drawing is called the front. Of course, the top would be here, as well as this lower section is the top. And then you have the right side. But on the right hand of this isometric representation, you have each section. For instance, the front is shown as if you were looking at it from straight ahead, straight on, and then the top is shown as if you were looking at it from directly above the object, and of course the right side as if you were looking straight from the right side. This set of projections is called a two-dimensional orthographic projection, and in this case it's a set of three. Typically, we call them in this course front right top, or top right front, however you want to order that. But this is the type of drawing that we will be spending a good amount of our course making in this class. And today we will go through our first set of drawings here on AutoCAD. And I'm going to demonstrate some of the basics on how that's done. So, in AutoCAD, I'm going to move around my screen a bit. Typically, you have an X and a Y axis. So the first point that we start with in drawing an isometric drawing is we draw an X and a Y axis on our own, on a piece of paper, or in this case on the computer screen. I'm going to turn my ortho on so that my lines come out perfectly straight, and then I'm going to make this about 20, close to 20, and that one about 20. Now, for most of the assignments that we have, I'm going to escape a couple times. Most of the assignments that we have with orthographic drawings, like today's, we will start with an X and a Y axis, and then we need to label three sections here. This first one will be, I'm going to put a text here. I'll put the height at about, let's just say 1. I'm going to turn my ortho off. Height at about 2. Let's go with 2. At an angle, I want it to go left to right, so I'm going to go with a 0, and then it will leave my cursor there. I can type in front and then push enter and escape. Now I'm going to make a copy of this. There's my copy command here. Copy the front. I've selected it and push enter, and then specify a base point. I'm making a copy of that, and as I specify a base point, I now have 2 copies of the front there, but I also have a front listed there. You may be asking, why is he making 3 copies of this front? Well, really I'm just making a copy to edit the text up here. So I double click. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to undo that. I didn't mean to move it. So I double click, I push the Control Z to undo it. Double click that and it highlights it. Then I'm going to call this top and enter. I'm going to call this right and enter. Now let's go back to that drawing that I have of the orthographic projection. You see I have a front, right side, and a top. So my labeling is similar. Also notice that this front drawing, the line here on this edge, lines up pretty well with that top line. And same thing with this right side of the front drawing. It lines up with that. And that's something that's important to do on a lot of the drawings that we do in this course. Same thing with your front, the top there of the front, as it lines up, it goes to the top of the right and the bottom as well. So we're still setting up our front, top, right drawing. Now notice here it's kind of in the way of this origin line. So I'm going to go ahead and select everything. I mentioned how to select. I'm going right to left. So I've clicked on the right, left click, and then go across it and click again. Now I have selected everything. And so I'm going to move this whole section. I'm going to specify a base point about here, and I'm going to move it up so it's out of the way there. Okay, so I'm going to push escape 2 times to make sure I'm out of everything. I'm going to zoom out and then middle click the roller there and then put that section there. So this is my setup for doing an orthographic drawing. Now I'm going to pull up the assignment that we have, what I call the Orthographic Drawings 1 assignment. Should be on the web page there. You can download. And I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so you can see the full set of drawings. What we have here is the orthographic paper. This paper shows 6 different drawings. These are isometric drawings. Notice how each one it's about 6 units wide. And if I go close enough, you can see, you can count these off. So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units there. That's the, we'll call that the length. And then the height here, if you count that off, it's 1, 2. And same thing here, it's 6 across, 2. It's 6 here, even though this chunk is missing, but it's also too high. And then if you go into the depth, or what you might call the width, that goes in 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can count off the units listed here of each of these dimensions. This one is a little taller. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide, and also 4 deep. Okay, and then this one here is 4 tall, 6 wide, and 4 deep. Then you have these little notches listed here, 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 and here that kind of help you to understand where everything lines up. So this notch here is lined up with that top one. This one here is lined up with that vertical line, and then the other top line there. So these are the assignment isometric drawings, and what I want you to do is practice doing these drawings, but there's a specific way to do them. So, and that's listed down below. So first, I'll go through the instructions. It says create a front, right, top set of drawings for each of the drawings 1 through 6 below. And then be sure to include your name and your section number on your drawings. Put that down as text. And then third, print your drawing out and turn it in. Of course, this course, you just send in a DWG format. These are some of the commands and different concepts that we're learning on this assignment. Then down below, I go through the steps for making this drawing. And so what we've done so far is to make an X and a Y reference line. That's the L-shaped starter. And I'll go back and forth here. That's the L. I call it the L-shaped starter. Left, right, top labels. And back to the drawing here. It says label front right top, which I showed you how to do. And then use the offset button with the X and Y lines to make exact distances. So what I'm going to do is set this up in a way so that I can draw it out and so that you can see this easily. Give me just a minute. What I've done is moved over the drawing, 6 drawings, the 6 isometric drawings, and put them on the right side. And now I've shrunken down my AutoCAD screen to be a little smaller so that I can make the first one here. Now, just as a shortcut, this might be helpful to know. If you select this whole section, I'm right, left, going from right to left on my selection, selecting everything. And I'm going to zoom out with my roller wheel a little bit, move the screen over. Here's a neat trick that helps with several of these drawings. We will be doing several like this. And then come here to the copy command. So if I just make a copy of that section, so I've highlighted it, then copied it. Now it says specify a base point. I'm going to make sure that my ortho is on, and watch what happens as I put my base point here. Left click here, and I'll move it left click here, left click there. Now I'm going to turn my ortho off, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so I'm in a situation now where I can't go any lower, I can't bring this any lower, and then if I roll my wheel out, it lets me zoom in, but I can't roll out any farther, so I have a problem in that I want to put this copy down lower than that section there, but it's kind of too close. I want it to be further down. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to escape, show you a new command, and again, I zoom in, but I zoom out and I can't get, oh, there we go. So I get out of the command. I'm going to reset my screen. It's a little smaller now, and highlight again that section, that whole section there. This time I'm going to copy. So I've resized my screen there. Now I'm going to specify a base point of there, there, and there. So I'll escape 2 times. So basically, I'm asked on this assignment to do 6 drawings, and I'm set up now to do all 6. And so I will go ahead and put that drawing there. I'll start with the first one. And the first one here is a block. It's kind of like a brick or a piece of wood or something that's straight and nice and smooth. So here's how the sequence for drawing this block. We'll draw the front first, and then I'll go to the top, and then I'll go to the right side. So in order to draw the front, I want to put it right about here, just like that orthographic projection I showed you earlier. And the way you do that is you count off, first you count off the distance. So this is 6 across this way and 2 high. And you start with the offset command. So I'll go offset, and remember 6, and click here. I want it to go 6 across. Now I want it to offset 4 and go up 4. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, excuse me. It's 2, so I'm going to go ahead and offset 6 across, 6 there, move it across, and then I'm still in the offset command. I'm going to click on the bottom, and it wants me to go 6 up, but I know that it's only 2 high, so I'm going to put 2 here, enter, and zoom in a bit. So that front face is represented there. It's as if I took that section and laid it flat on a plane and looked forward at it. Alright, so I have my front section done. A lot of extra lines here, but don't worry about that yet. We'll get back to that. Next, we want you to look at the top. We're going to draw the top section, but we're going to put a space between the front side and the top side. And so I'm going to do a space of 1 unit, and I'm going to do that there. That's a spacer. That's all. The purpose of doing that, having that, is just so you have a gap between the front and the top. And then with the top view, now I'm going to push escape a couple times. This line here is represented as this line right there, So to go that direction on this, and then of course this is 1, 2, 3, 4. To go that direction would be to go up on this one. So I'm going to escape out of my selected line. So I need to offset up by 4 units. So I offset it 4, put it up. So now this top section here is demonstrated there from this isometric drawing. Okay, lastly, we'll work on the right side. But because I put a gap of 1 here, I want to put a gap of 1 also on this side. Now I could click on the offset button, but I'll show you a quick trick. If you just type the letter O on your keyboard, it intuitively helps you to find the command offset. And if I push enter, that puts me in the offset command. Notice how it's still listed as 4. If I just change that, because it's highlighted in blue, I can just type in 1, push enter. Now it's set to offset by 1 unit. I'll do this one on the edge to the right. So now I have a gap on the right between my front and the right side. So this, excuse me, I'm going to erase that out. This line here, right there, is represented in that line there. So I'm going to go to the right of it. Again, it's as if I take this surface and lay it flat on the screen. It's going to go right how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. So I'll escape out, offset, 4, and select this one and go to the right 4. Now I'm going to use the hatch command. I'll escape out of this. Remember, the hatch command is a coloring command. Just temporarily, I'm going to color in the sections that are represented as the front right here, which is there, the right, which is on the right side, and the top. So that gives you the 3 areas that we are looking at. Now, the important part is to clean up all of the excess lines that are not needed, not used. They're just used as references. So in order to do that, I'm going to highlight the hatch, and it's highlighted in blue, and I will push delete now. Highlight blue and delete. And I'm going to go ahead and trim it out. So I can trim, right click here. And you remember you can trim either individually like this, or you can just block out a whole section to trim. So I am blocking out whole sections here. Hopefully it'll let me. It didn't look like it was going to let me there. Oh, there you go. So I've trimmed out everything, and I'm going to try and trim this last one, but it doesn't let me. That's because I need to go with the erase, and I've clicked on the erase button, highlighted this, and pushed enter. And that is my first front right top drawing. I'll do another demonstration for you of another one. Let's just say I wanted to do drawing number, let's say 4. Drawing number 4. Okay. So looking at my 6 drawings, let's say I went 1, 2, 3, 4 would be down here. I will zoom into that and do another quick demonstration of 4. This time I'll do it a lot faster than before. So you know it's 6 wide and 2 high. So offset 6 wide, and it automatically goes to 6. I'm going to change that mid-command. I'm still in the command. Change that to 2, so it gives me that front section. That's what I see. Now let's go to the right side this time. But I need to put a spacer. So I'll put a spacer. This time I'll put a spacer of 2, which means I offset 2 and select the object. I'm going to offset that way 2 and that way 2. Now this offset, I'm going to zoom out. This offset of 2, this gap, is bigger than the 1, and that's all right, as long as I do the same for the right side and the top. So again, I'm focusing on the right side. Notice on this right side view of the isometric drawing, I have a square section here, which is 2 high, 1, 2, and then 2 wide, 1, 2. Then you have another gap area here, surface. You can't quite see it all, but you pretty much can deduce that it's 1 wide and 2 high. So that's just keep that in mind. And then same thing here, 1 wide, 2 high. So what I need to do is draw that out in this area. I'll start with the left square there. You know it's 2 wide, so I'm going to offset 2 and select that there. That means that this little square there is represented in this section of that face. Next, I'm going to eliminate the hatch there. Okay. Next, I'm going to draw the next two sections. Now, each one is 1 wide, 1 and 1, and then it's 2 high. Well, the 2 high is already there. It's because of the last reference line there. But the 1 wide is not. So I'm going to change this offset to 1, offset 1, and 1. Okay. So I have 3 sections. I'll hatch them all. 1, 2, 3. That are represented from this isometric view. However, keep in mind that this middle section, this one here, is deeper than the rest, the other 2. And for the sake of graphics communication, we just let that go and count that as visible. You will know what it looks like by looking at the other angles, the other perspectives. So we're going to leave the right side there and go to the top. Now remember, this top, or this line here from the top, it's a gap of 2. That line is represented along this section there. And if you go upward, or inward I should say, it's how many units? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you were to take this surface and lay it flat on the ground, it would be 4 high. So we'll change that to 4. 4 there. So that, this area, I'll highlight it, is represented from this part of the drawing. Except for there's this little gap, this little chunk that needs to be taken out. So let's just measure off. I'm going to take off the hatch first. Let's measure off that chunk. Well, it goes down 1 from that upper section, and then it goes 1 more down, and that's where that area is, that piece that's missing. But then inside, going from the right side to the left, it goes in 1, 2. You can kind of count that off in the drawing. So what that means is I need to offset the area. I'll go kind of in reverse. I'll offset the 2 from this section there. Tells you how deep that chunk is that's missing. And then go 1 down and 1 down. So I'm going to offset again. 1, where am I? There to there. And 1 more to there. Now this ends up being a lot of lines. And it may get a little bit confusing, but it still serves as a purpose of helping you to make sure everything is precise and exact and correctly lined up. I'm going to hatch out the area. This here is representing the top section of that area there. So I'll highlight that. The last part of this, of course, again, is to trim it out. So left click on trim, and then right click out here. And now I'm going to quick trim, see how I can quickly reduce these things while I'm in the trim command. I think I'm doing this right. Am I doing that right? I want to take out things. If you ever do accidentally trim out something that you didn't mean to, let's say I accidentally trim that out, you could just click on the undo button, or just control and then hit Z while the undo button's on there. So we're in the trimming out this section. I know that this here gets trimmed. I remember that this part here all gets trimmed out. That's the gap area. Now this line here is represented inside, but you can't see it. And so for the sake of this assignment, we are just going to erase it. It's not letting me do it because this line's not overlapping. So if I wanted to, I could just highlight it and push delete. I'm going to go back to the trim command though. Trim and then right click, because I need to clean up this area. So now I need to clean up lines that do not need to be there. Again, this here now represents that top section of number 4. And this one here on the right side also represents, there's the big square, and then the smaller 2 rectangles, each of them 1 unit wide. There they are, 1 and 1. And now I just need to erase this last section. Notice it won't let me trim, so I need to either erase, push the erase button, and highlight and push enter. So now I have my front right top for section 4. So your assignment is to finish all 6 of these. Make sure your name and section number are on there for online course, but online. And then turn that in. Good luck.